Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. I'm Madison, and today we have 3 Hoya to repot. And while we do that, I just wanted to chat with you guys about what I have learned over the last couple years, and really mostly over the last year, keeping Hoya in my home, and just what I've learned with you. Some really basic tips and tricks, but some things that were kind of opposite from what I had been hearing when I first started collecting Hoya myself. So if you are just starting to collect Hoya, or if you have some Hoya that have been struggling and you're just really not sure why, watch this video and hopefully I can help you figure it out, or we can troubleshoot some potential issues and ways to fix them. If you like this kind of stuff and you like planty videos, make sure you are subscribed to this channel because I put out planty videos every single week and you don't want to miss them. Oh! I didn't just almost take down my light. No. I have 3 Hoya to repot, like I said. So I have their slightly larger pots already picked out here. So let me just kind of show you what we're doing first. So I have this really, really pretty Hoya carry I was going to say obovata, but those aren't circles. So yeah, Hoya carry. It's doing some stuff. It is starting to put out some aerial roots. I don't know if you'll be able to see there. And then there's a few aerial roots up here as well. So he's in desperate need of a repot, so we're gonna do him. And then I've got this Hoya Kentiana, I'm gonna call it. It's been doing really, really well. This was struggling for me for a while, really since I got it, and it's been popping off lately. So I'm super excited to chat with you about what I have learned through this plant specifically. I didn't just learn this just with trial and error. I also learned this with the help of you guys who watch and comment and help me with my struggling plants. So thank you guys all so much for commenting in whatever video you comment in. So many of you guys comment in on every single one of my videos, and you have no idea how much I appreciate that. Not only is it so nice to just chat with you guys, but y'all come in with some really good advice. So I appreciate you all so much. But yeah, I can't wait to tell you what I have learned with this plant specifically. Oh my gosh, did I just see? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try and show this to you without breaking it, but there is a little aerial root, a little white kind of fuzzy aerial root right there. Oh, can you see that? Could you be any cuter? I mean, for real. For real, you're so cute. Okay, so we need to repot her. And then I also want to repot this beauty right here. This is my Hoya macrophylla albo marginata, if we want to get real fancy, but we can just call her Hoya macrophylla. She's been growing really, really well. And again, look, how can I show this to you? Look at all of those aerial roots. I hope that it's focusing. I need to get this guy out of the way. Here we go. Let's try this again. Do you see all those aerial roots in there? Ah! Looking so good. I can't get over it. Can't get over how nicely this is doing. I do have a couple of old growth points here that have since died off, but it looks like there's going to be a bunch of new ones starting. So giving him a repot will just help boost that growth. At least that's what I'm hoping, that's what I'm planning. And then I've got a mix here of soil. It is just some basic Miracle-Gro soil because that's what I had on hand, and that was what was available to me. I have what is left, the absolute last little bit of these clay Leco balls essentially, and then a bunch of perlite. So I just need to mix this guy all up, get it all homogenized, and then let's replant some pots and get to chatting because I've got some stuff to share. It is very simple, so don't get too scared. There's nothing crazy. You don't have to, sing to your plants every day or anything like that, or, do yoga with them or anything we're not getting too out there. It is just really simple stuff, but it's kind of the opposite of what I've been hearing, like I said. So let's just get into it. Let me kind of reset you up here so you can see what we're doing. Okay, hopefully you can see and hear everything all right. I still need to mix this guy up real quick, but I do have my potting mat. So, we're making progress here with the messiness and therefore how much cleanup needs to be done. Okay, that is well enough mixed. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on this guy first, the Hoya Carry. We're gonna get him going. And while I do that, let's start chatting about care. So first off, I always heard from people that like Hoya love to be super, super, super root bound and just like never repot them for years and years and years and years and years, which in some cases might be the truth. Okay, actually, let me start off by just giving a quick disclaimer. I feel like I said that weird disclaimer that this is just what I have found in my experience with the somewhat limited Hoya that I do have in my care. If you're wondering which Hoya I have a Hoya collection video that I will link somewhere for you guys. But this is just what I have learned with the plants that I've had in the environment that I'm working with and figuring out like what environment to try to create for them and just kind of how that has been going. So that is the experience that I'm speaking from. It is just my own. I am in no way trying to say that like this is like end all be all for like care and like that's it, and if this doesn't work for then something you're doing something wrong. Like that's totally not it at all. This is just what I have found so far. So I just wanted to share that with you. I was always told, not like personally told, but via the internet people, that, Hoyas love to be super, super root bound, and that is how they're going to thrive. Granted, maybe some may do that. I'm going to say that for everything. There's caveats and weird outliers for literally everything. But I just thought that that's what you do. So I got a Hoya and I never did anything to it. I never touched the soil. I never like did anything as far as other than just watering it. And then I would water, I would wait forever to water it. I would treat it almost like a succulent. Like I would just never water them like for a month or something. And they didn't die off. Like I still have the first Hoya that I ever purchased, but which is my Hoya carnosa. That also needs a repot, but it's in bloom right now, so I just want to wait for those blooms to all like fully form, and then I'll probably give it a repot, or maybe fully form and then drop off and then repot. I just don't want to risk hurting those little blooms on there, but yeah, I never did anything to it, and when I finally did repot that plant after so long and just being like, this plant doesn't really grow. Like I heard that Hoya grow really slow. That was the other thing. Hoya grows so slow. That's always what I had heard from people. And I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I guess they grow slow, but it's been like 6 months and it's done literally nothing. Like what am I doing wrong? And I finally just like started to treat it a little bit more like all of my other plants in that I water it when the soil feels pretty dry, not just when I can tell something with the leaves necessarily, because let's face it, you can't always tell with Hoya leaves unless you really know what you're looking for, especially at the start, which, that was at the start for me. And let's face it, it's still kind of at the start for me. I'm still like a beginner Hoya person, but I'm just putting the soil back in the same pot. That's not what we're doing. Putting it in the bigger pot. Oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah, so that Hoya carnosa didn't start growing until after I finally gave it a repot and finally started watering it more. So I learned that you can't just always go off of what everyone says on the internet. And that's why I say take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt as well. You cannot just always go off of like what 1 or 2 or 10 people say on the internet. You like really need to just try it for yourself and like see what's going to work for you. But for me, that just was not working. My plant was not growing. It was making me like really discouraged. And I was just feeling like, okay, maybe Hoya is just like not for me because it's not rewarding. And, when you're first like getting into a type of plant, you want it to grow because that is what feels the most rewarding. And that is what makes you, more excited, or I guess me, I'll speak for myself, makes me more excited to keep growing them and want to get like more to see how these different ones grow and get different variations and all that stuff. So yeah, I finally like realized after 6+ months that like, okay, maybe Hoya aren't just like fully succulent. They're not the same thing. Sure, they might be somewhat similar, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not a botanist. But to me, I can't keep a succulent alive to save my life, like at all. But I can keep Hoya alive. And it's because I treat them like my other plants. So, first lesson from me to you to take with a pinch of salt is to repot your Hoya. If they feel like they're not really doing anything, check the roots. Even if the roots don't necessarily seem root bound, like I didn't do a very good job of showing you the root ball on here. It was not super root bound at all, but it hasn't really done much for me. So we're gonna give it a fresh thing of soil. So, it might just be that it's in just like not great soil from wherever you got it. I got this from a big box store, so it's not gonna it's not gonna come in great soil to begin with, almost always. So it's nice to just give your plant a refresh. That soil will have different nutrients and vitamins and all different kinds of things in it, and then hopefully the new soil will allow this plant to soak up all of the other nutrients that I give it via waterings. So, yeah, lesson number one, they don't always want to be root bound. And they sometimes just want a bigger pot and a bigger home. We'll give them more availability to those nutrients to help them grow even more. You know what I mean? It just kind of like goes hand in hand. So, yeah, don't be afraid to repot your Hoya, even if it's only been a little bit since you got it or something like that, but you feel like you should wait 6 months or a year or what have you. But if it's not doing anything, just repot it. That's also why I'm repotting this guy here. This is the Hoya Kentiana. Now, granted, it has started popping off. Let me see. Can I show you here? It has started popping off a bunch of new growth. Like, do you see all of that dark purple in the center? That is all new. And then let's see. We've got this little shoot right here. Can you see that? Yeah, this little shoot right here is all new. There's a bunch of new growth in here. So the reason that this is having more growth is because I have been watering it like a crazy person. I've been giving it so much water, and it's because it's okay. It is decently root bound, I would say, for a Hoya. You know what I mean? Um, I'm smelling. But yeah, there's definitely some good roots on there. And every time I would water this plant, not only would it be so hydrophobic, meaning that the soil is like scared of the water. It doesn't soak up any of the water when it's hydrophobic. It just goes straight through. So that's why if you haven't watered a plant in a while, or if a plant is really root bound, even if you have watered it recently, but it's root bound, that is why when you go to water it, the water will just go straight through the bottom of the pot and just like go filling up the saucer or filling up wherever you have it and just like making a mess, because you expect some of that water to sit in the soil and actually get absorbed. That's not going to happen if your soil is hydrophobic. And again, that could happen if it is root bound. So that means that there's just less soil in there to be able to soak it up. So it's going to dry out so much faster. But it could also happen if you're just going a little bit too long in between waterings for the substrate that you're using. So yeah, it all just kind of depends on the substrate that you're using, the environment that you are in, and this soil actually looks pretty good, but it's not from me, so I'm just going to put it with the other stuff. But yeah, it all just depends. It depends on your environment and all that. But if you are finding that your soil is really hydrophobic really fast and it's not root bound, it's just like the soil and you're waiting a little bit too long, but you don't feel like you're actually waiting too long, just go ahead and change the soil and maybe give it something that is going to be more moisture retenting in the soil, like a different additive. You know what I mean? Like maybe add some sphagnum moss or something like that. That will be, well, maybe not sphagnum moss, because that does dry out really quickly. And then when it does, it gets kind of hydrophobic, but maybe add some perlite or something like that that will hold that moisture for a little bit longer. But yeah, don't be afraid to repot your Hoya, and don't be afraid to water your Hoya. So like I was saying, this guy has started growing. Oh yeah, I'm not going to use the same pot. Hello, we're using a bigger pot. Back to the watering though. I feel like, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. It's just how I talk. I'm so sorry. I need to take like notes or something to keep my head straight. But yeah, don't be afraid to water your Hoya if you feel like it's just drying out so quickly and you're like maybe dropping leaves a lot. Like I was dropping a good amount of leaves because it was just drying out way too much, way too quickly. If you find that that's happening, don't be afraid to just go ahead and Give it a repot if you want to. If you don't have the time for a repot, don't have the resources for a repot, make sure that you're just boosting the watering like as much as you can. You know what I mean? Don't be like drowning the plant, obviously, but if you need to water it every single day because it just keeps getting so dry, just water it every day. You know what I mean? And maybe leave it in like a deeper saucer. That's another thing that you could do. If you're finding that your soil is just like getting really hydrophobic really quickly and the water is just like going right through, get one of those like deeper saucers. It's really dirty, but something like this, a deeper saucer. That way you can fill the water up a good amount and it can just sit there and slowly suck it up as it's needed. I just wouldn't let the water sit in there for like more than 3 days or something like that, just because you don't want to invite root rot. It's all a balancing act. Very nice. I feel like now this is going to be even happier. We will continue watering. Actually, oh, I put it the wrong way. I made it more of an intense spray, but that's okay. The soil in there, I don't know if you noticed, was very dry, and I literally watered this thing yesterday. So, and it lives in my grow tent up here, and the humidity in there has been like above 70%. So, and the lights are only on 12 hours a day. So, yeah, it was time. It was definitely time. I think he's really going to appreciate this. Look at how beautiful. Looking good. So I'm super excited to see how that guy does. That will be a plant that you will definitely be seeing an update on in about a month. When I go through and I show you like the whole update of that grow tent after having that fancy light in there for a month and like having the extra humidity and all that jazz. So stay tuned for that because I'm super excited. I already know it's going to be good. I already know it's going to be good because it's already good. Okay, let's see. Alrighty, let's do this Hoya macrophylla, elbow marginata, if we're being super fancy. The next things I want to talk to you about will kind of hit all in one because I feel like they can kind of go hand in hand. I don't know. In my mind, they do. That is going to be the light and the humidity. Okay, you guys, do you even know how much Hoya loves sun? They love it so much. It's ridiculous. I have all of my Hoya currently situated in my grow tent on the top shelf. Not the like very top shelf because then they wouldn't get as much light. I have like my teeniest little Hoya on the tippity top shelf because it will still get that light. You know what I'm talking about when you see that video. But or you can see this other video that I'll link it up here somewhere for you so that you know what I'm talking about or what I'm referring to. But yeah, I keep all of the Hoya currently on that top shelf because it is the closest to the light. And my God, do Hoya love the light, you guys. They love it so much. So in that regard, I would say, I guess they kind of are succulent-y, you know, because like succulents and cacti um, love the light, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it is kind of similar in that regard. But they also, like I said, they also like to be fed and watered. Oh my gosh, I didn't mention feeding. In my mind, when I say water, I also mean feed. Just so you guys know, I'm so sorry. I didn't mention that. But every time I water, I do have a little bit of fertilizer in the water. So not only do Hoya love water, but they also love to be fed. Feed them. Feed your Hoya. They love it. I've never seen like a Hoya have too much either. I don't even know what that looks like. If you know what that looks like, let me know. Or maybe I'll Google it and put a picture up or something if I can find it. Editing Madison over here. So upon very little research, I discovered that I was so wrong and that you could definitely over fertilize your Hoya, and that not only can you over fertilize your Hoya, it can be very detrimental to the health of your plant. So less is more. And yeah, like I said at the beginning, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I am not a botanist. I did not go to school for botany or anything like that. I am just over here growing plants in my house and having a good time. So yeah, I'm happy to report that I was very wrong and happy to learn and share with you guys. So yeah, don't over fertilize your plants. They love water and they love food and they love light. Don't we all? I mean, hello. But yes, they love light. So give your Hoya more light if you feel like it's just really, really, really slow. I'm going to be real with you guys. I do not feel like Hoya are that slow of growers. I feel like people give them a bad rap for being super, super slow growers, and they're just not that slow. I don't know. I mean, maybe compared to like a, philodendron Brazil, it's slightly slower, but like compared to a cacti or a succulent for me ever, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good speed. So don't be too like scared of Hoya. So don't think that it's not satisfying to grow, because it is. It will be very rewarding to grow. They just are. They grow pretty darn quickly when they are happy. So to make them happy, to recap, they want a good amount of space for their soil so that they can soak in all those nutrients, or a good amount of space for their roots, excuse me, in the soil to soak up the nutrients. They want a good amount of water, and they want food. They want to be fed, and they also want a lot of light. And along with a lot of light, these guys really enjoy humidity. I have not usually kept my Hoya in an area that is excessively humid by any means. They've usually just like kind of been out and about in like my regular house humidity, which is nothing crazy. And they did fine, mind you, they did absolutely fine. But did they grow like aerial roots like that? No, absolutely not. They were not growing aerial roots like that. They would grow like little like nubbins, you know what I mean, of roots, but nothing even close to that at all. And honestly, I don't know why I'm surprised, because I follow so many amazing plant accounts from people who live in Florida and stuff like that, like really humid climates, and have their Hoya outside, and the aerial roots are always just like totally popping off. So I don't know why I never put two and two together that like, oh, Hoya really like moisture in the air. They really like that humidity. They appreciate it. They soak it in, and they will push out some growth. All right, she is fully done. She looks absolutely stunning in her new pot. Not like it's a fancy pot or anything like that. She is just going in my greenhouse. So I'm not worried about a cute pot or anything like that. Granted, I don't really have very many cute pots. Not yet, anyway. That's the thing. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, you guys. One step at a time. But yeah, she looks really good in here, and I think that this plant is going to, again, so appreciate having more room for her soil. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. I think she's really going to appreciate having more room for her roots within the soil here, and be able to like really actually soak in all of the nutrients and the goodness that I've been pouring into her lately, and she's just been like dumping it out. So granted, it just falls onto another plant in there, so it's not like it's going to waste, but like I want this plant to get it. You know what I mean? While I kind of clean up my area here a little bit, I just want to give one last recap, just to kind of go over my tips and tricks, my advice for your Hoya. Don't be scared to repot your Hoya. Don't be afraid to water your Hoya, and don't be afraid to boost that light and boost that humidity. They like it all. Boost it all. You know what I mean? They want more, is what I'm trying to say. Hoya want more. I think that pretty much sums it up. Don't take it too seriously. Don't stress about it too much. And like I said at the beginning, this is just what I've experienced with the Hoya that I have in my collection, which is limited. I don't have a crazy amount of Hoya in my collection. It's just a pretty, I would say, like fairly basic collection of Hoya so far. But I do feel like that lends me, some good experience, some good firsthand experience to be able to share that with you guys, so that hopefully you don't struggle with them as much as I did in the beginning. So yeah, not like it was a terrible struggle. Like I said, nothing died, which was really nice. They are very resilient plants. So don't be afraid to like try stuff out, because it's probably not going to die. Like we might drop a couple leaves or something here and there, but did it die?
Did you die?
No. So it's fine. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me for repotting a few of my Hoya that were really, really needing it. I can't wait to show you all of the new growth that happens after we do this, and like I said, like about a month or so. And I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of new growth to show you, especially for this Hoya Kentiana. Like seriously, can we appreciate all that new growth just one more time? All of this like deep purple stuff, all of this right here. Um, all of this right here. What else? These cute little spurts coming out of the top of the soil here, all new growth. So I just know that now that he's got a bigger home, it's going to be amazing. So yeah, thank you guys. Oh, sorry, I didn't show this one. She wants to be shown one more time and she was grabbing onto me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you learned something or at least had some fun hanging out with me today and chatting Hoyas. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you are not already so you don't miss any of my new uploads that will be coming out here soon. And let me know what your favorite Hoya is down below and like a lesson maybe that you've learned about your plants. Maybe not even just like about Hoya, but just a lesson about your plants in general. Leave me a comment down below and let's chat about it. I would love to hear, and hopefully some of our lessons will help each other have an easier time with our plant parenthood here. So thank you guys so much again. I will see you in the next one.